how to create a colourful abstract design like this in Photoshop using adjustment layers, curves, as well as gradients and Liquify. Now I'm using Photoshop CC 220, but you can use 219, 218, etc. So first thing to do, just going to go to the history panel and remove that. What I'm going to use is a gradient. So there's the gradient tool there, and I'm using one of these gradients here. And I'm using legacy gradients. Now you may not have those. How to get them? Main thing, just go to the gradients panel. You'll find that via a window and gradients. Once you've done that, you can go to the right side and you've got an option there for legacy gradients. Click that, and what happens, it will bring in the legacy gradients. You can find them just down here. So once you've selected your gradient, what I'm using is radial and difference for the blending mode. Different, you could use any of the others as well, but difference is a really nice blending mode. It's great, all kinds of abstract, colourful designs like that. So I'm going to stop at that point. What I'm going to do, I'm going to add an adjustment layer. So layer menu and new adjustment layer and curves. Now this is resting on top of the existing layer, that gradient layer, and it will modify the colours of that gradient layer. It's not destructive, so you can always remove it if you don't want it. You can disable it, it's just a layer. So click OK. Now you've got properties. You can't see that, window and properties. And then you can manipulate them. I'm just going to go with this option here, edit points to modify curve. Now you could use this draw option, which creates some very nice abstract designs as well. I'm just going to tweak this. And you can see you can create some really interesting contour-like designs there, because you get this lovely contour effect appearing. And you can manipulate the curve, move that up and down, create some pretty abstract designs. Now it's a layer. Adjustment layers are layers like anything else, and what you can do, you can go to there and you can turn around and say, well, I want like difference for it, or darken. But I'm going to go with darker colour. You could use lighter colour, colour dodge, and there's a whole range of different, depending on what design you want to create at the end. So I'm just going to go with darker colour. Now once you've done that, what you can do, you can always flatten it. You got that. That's all one layer. Just see over here in layers. Then you can go and liquify it. So filter menu and liquify. That's a really good one. I love liquify. So just drag that. Now vary the size of the brush. Obviously depends on the image, because I've got, it's about 1600 by 1600. So just vary the size of the brush there. And I'm going to create sort of like a star-like design. Squeeze that in and drag that out. And you can create all kinds of abstract designs using that. So you can see your design there. What you can then do, of course, is you can duplicate that. It's just a standard layer, even though it's a background layer. You can always go to layer menu and duplicate layer. Click OK. Then edit and transform it. I'm going to rotate it. So I'm just going to go for rotate 90 degrees. So it's been rotated now. Again, it's blending mode. You can blend the layers. Again, go for darken or maybe lighter. Go for a whole range of different options. Just run through them. Just try them out. Maybe you might think, oh, lighter colour really works. It's got a lovely, nice, sort of smooth lines there. I'd say it's virtually impossible to produce exactly the same design as obviously the previous one. It's a bit of trial and error, but it's great to experiment with these things. And you can just, and also what you can do, you can always, of course, go to window menu and actions. So you can save them to an action, and then you can just run them over and over again. So you maybe can create a very complex action that's got multiple layers, multiple applications of adjustment curves, and it can be automatically applied each and every time. But of course you can vary the source gradient. So you can create a different gradient, apply that set of, and it will create all kinds of abstract designs like that. And of course you can always go and vary, if as long as you've got some of this still available like lighter colour, you can always change it to maybe difference if you wish. But lighter colour I'm going to go with. Once you've done that, I'm just going to go with flatten at this point. So layer menu and flatten. So you don't have to do that. You could turn them all into, maybe go to layer menu and a smart object. So it all becomes one smart object. That's just as good as well. Since I'm not adding anything to the layers, you can just turn it into a smart object and you can continue this process. So now you've done that, you also go to filter and you go to stylize and oil paint. And I'm using stylization, all these set to quite high. These completely ignored, so don't worry about that. Just use these. Click OK. Filter, oil paint. I always like to put it 2 or 3 times. And you can create this lovely smeary design. And of course you can continue it. Because what it is, you simply go to layer, new adjustment layer, and curves. So you can add that again, and then you can manipulate it again using exactly the same one there. You can see you can create all kinds of different, unique, colourful designs simply by manipulating this curve. Once you're happy with the design, of course, what you can also do, of course, don't have to do it, don't have to close it. You can continue manipulate it later, so you can go again darker, or I'm going to go with dark colour again. You can still manipulate the properties, and of course it's using the darker colour now. And it may or may not make any difference in terms of the end result. You can see it tweaking there. But again, this is the reason why it's nice to be able to go to lighter colour if you want to create a different design. So you go, say, lighter colour, and you can see you can, just by changing that, brings in more or less. And I'm going to move that now. And then flatten, layer menu and flatten. Again, I always like oil paint, so oil paint a couple of times. Create that. And then you've got your design there, a very abstract, colourful design using a combination of gradients, adjustments, as well as Liquify. You don't have to use Liquify, but the Liquify is great for creating this sort of smeary sort of, and also, of course, oil paint to finish it off in terms of making it really quite smeary. And you can, of course, go then to the image menu and adjustments and manipulate it maybe further, maybe add some vibrance. If you want to make that a bit more vibrant, you can tweak that up like that. Up to you if you want to continue with that. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Please subscribe to the Graphicxtras channel. Always adding new tutorials about Photoshop, Illustrator, Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer, Painter, and many, 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 many more. Also, please add some comments. Always appreciated. It's nice to hear, what am I doing right? What could I do slightly better? Or hopefully a lot better. Also, a dislike or like. Thank you much.